Cinematic Shuffle has shuffled once again. If you were around on my Threads handle last week or as a YouTube short, you would have seen me give off my 3 weekly hints for what this film was going to be. I said Bradley Cooper, Zoe Saldana, but it was not an MCU film. Not too many guesses on this one, but 3D Jake and Epic-tastic Joshua, you both got it spot on when you guessed The Words. A film that was released back in 2012, one I think for the most part, people don't love. It even has a rotten rating over on Rotten Tomatoes, but I remember actually enjoying it when I first saw it, meaning at least at one point in my life, I had a hot take on this movie. But is that still the case? Well, let's get cracking. The Words is ultimately about plagiarism and the repercussions of such an act when a man played by Cooper is an aspiring author that just can't seem to come up with a story that anybody's even remotely interested in. But when by sheer happenstance he comes across an abandoned manuscript, he claims it as his own, thinking no harm, no foul, and he gains immediate notoriety and fame. But be careful what you wish for, because it might come true, am I right? This is a Chinese nesting doll of a film, let me tell you, because in a way, you can look at it as plotception. A plot within yet another plot, as there's essentially 3 sub-stories all going on simultaneously, 2 of them basically orbiting around the story that features Bradley Cooper's character. And they all poetically share a lot in common, most notably they all surround a character that loves to write, but has terrible struggles in coming up with the right words. It also deals with prioritizing things that maybe you should not, and what happens to those around you when you do. And obviously, the writer of this film has some very strong opinions on plagiarism. These stories come from somewhere, right? They aren't just words, they're literal stories coming from the blood of experience, and how you can take those words and claim them as your own, I guess, but you can never take the experiences that they come from. This film is filled to the brim with these concepts and ideas, and because it's a nesting doll type of film, the editing, cycling through all these stories is actually pretty good. As too are the performances. You have Bradley Cooper, who was very good, even though he was still somewhat starting out in film. This was in the middle of his Hangover fame. Zoe Saldana, which I never really disliked her in anything. You got Dennis Quaid, who even though I loved his performance in this film, I found it mysterious and intriguing. I also thought that he was a bit of a creeper because his character has a flirtatious moment with Olivia Wilde, and I'm like, no. There's like a 3-decade age gap there. God, no. The performances were fine, but that's a no-go from me. You also have Jeremy Irons in this film, and his role is of utmost importance, and he did a great job here, and I love to hear his voice. I'll never say no to that, but I don't think that he was cast correctly. He was supposed to be playing a really old guy, so he has some makeup on and everything, and I just didn't buy that. Just cast a literal older man in that age bracket. Not everybody in the film has to be ensemble A-list cast members, but it did feel like that while watching. Pretty much everybody in the film was well known. But truthfully, if you wanted to have A-class actors from beginning to end and needed somebody else in this role, I would say, you know, cast somebody like Ian McKellen or Anthony Hopkins or somebody like that. Now that would have turned that rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes to fresh. Sometimes I like to say where I think the target audience is. Is this a film that appeals to a younger or older crowd? To men, to women, to children? For The Words, I think that it's obviously a film that is meant to appeal more to older crowds and those that consider themselves to be creative types. People that are intimately familiar with the pains of wanting recognition and how strong the determination can be to a fault. This guy read this abandoned manuscript, and he didn't immediately just think, I'm going to copy and steal it. He wanted to know how it felt when he wrote something that was that good. So he wrote it out verbatim. The problem came when his girlfriend snooped and found the book on accident, and he couldn't bring himself to admit that he didn't write it because he saw the love in her eyes, the support there, everything that he's basically wanted to see all these years, and he's seeing it now. And she's the one that convinced him to show this book to a publisher. He didn't want to disappoint this woman that he loved, but by keeping this lie, he crafted a snowball effect that just does nothing but get worse. I say it's for the older crowd because it's also a little bit slower paced. It takes a lot of patience to get through the film. A younger crowd would not have that patience. They might just fall asleep. So yeah, my hot take on the film originally was that I liked it even though everybody else didn't so much. I can say that that's still true, but now that I'm older, I can say that's even more true today than it was before, because I scored this film a B+, letter grade, final overall score of 80%. 80 out of 100 possible stars. My original score was like 70% or so my score has actually gone up. Take that as you will. Let me know what you thought about the words. If you have seen it in the comment section down below, and as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.